the conversation, you can always email it to us at jwcarterfilmworks@gmail.com or drop it in the Facebook group Mysteries and Beliefs Podcast with John Carter, and we can share it on an upcoming episode. And again, today is going to be the continuation of our social media addiction. Last week, I'm going to retract a few things that I said.
What? Like what?
I'm going to retract the number of times I said fake because I listened to it back, or I listened back to the episode, and I said fake a lot of times.
You say a lot of times.
I know, but I said fake a lot of times.
Oh, okay.
So it reminded me of someone that I'm not going to say their name,
Okay.
but fake media, fake news,
Got it.
and that's what I sounded like.
Mm. The repetitiveness.
Not the repetitiveness,
Is
but
repetitiveness
just
a
I
word?
said that. Yeah, it is repetitiveness is a word, but I was saying that just
Look it
trying to
up.
get my point across about social media being not the real world.
Sure.
Illusion.
Yeah. An illusion. What I wanted to say about that is I dug into social media addiction just a little bit to check things out, but I didn't know how bad that shit is.
It's pretty bad.
It's even worse than I initially thought it was.
Yeah. People have to go to therapy and everything.
Therapy?
Yeah.
I mean, people are committing suicide and stuff because of social media. Did you know that?
I did.
Besides not only social media bullying, I mean, the numbers, I'm skipping way forwards, but I looked at something over the past 10 years in the group of teens. There's been a tremendous increase of depression,
Mm-hmm.
anxiety, and suicide.
Yep.
Because of social media.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not only social media bullying either. They also threw in there, it's because I know you guys use it because you show me this shit sometimes too when you use those filters on that.
Yep.
Kids want to make themselves look like these filters. And I think you may have mentioned that the last time.
Yep.
They want to deform their body to look like a filter. This is insane.
They do. Yeah, it's sad.
And I didn't, like I said, I didn't realize how bad the addiction truly is.
Yeah. I mean, kids, that's pretty much how they've grown up thus far. Generation Z?
Is that what they call them?
I think it's Generation Z.
Yeah.
They've had this technology since.
That's all they know.
That's literally all they know for whatever type of entertainment. And I mean, sometimes you see kids advocating for like self-care and getting themselves together, but there are people out there that kind of just turn to all the fake things, like all these influencers that have whatever type of surgeries, or they're photoshopping pictures of places that they've been to and it's not even real.
Not even a real place. Even their backgrounds that
Mhm.
people are just now figuring out that their backgrounds aren't real, or the car that they drive is not real,
Rented for a day.
or the house.
And see, Shanta, you weren't on a conversation last week, and that's exactly what I was saying about social media, and that's why I said fake so many times, because all the stuff that I see on social media, again, I'm not going to lump everybody up into the same basket of
Mhm.
crabs, but there is a lot of people out there that just floss.
Ding.
And
I
the
just said-
only reason why they do it is just for the likes. People do anything for the likes. I mean, people hurt themselves just for the likes.
Mhm.
Not only,
There's a movie about that.
what's it called?
I don't know. But there's a movie that does things. Whatever you say,
Jackass.
then they'll do it.
Jackass.
You might know what I'm talking about. No,
No,
not
I'm
Jackass.
just saying because you got to be a jackass for doing some stuff.
Well,
that
sure,
they do.
but no, it's a movie. It's a movie where it's two people, a guy and a girl, and whatever you put, you do.
Are you talking about Nerve?
Could be. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
But
I
in
mentioned,
general, people do things for the
but I
likes.
know I mentioned about that before. You don't watch Black Mirror, but Chantel and I watch Black Mirror, and there's an episode where all people did was a lot of, if you have not watched Black Mirror, everything is based on technology, and a lot of it was focused around social media.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the episodes was when they had that game. People were hurting and killing each other, and they were just following 'em around with the phone, just recording it, but no one helping. And at the end of it, you found out it was because they were playing a game. At the beginning, you didn't really know what was going on. You just knew no one was helping them.
Was that the one where the girl ended up on stage at the end?
Yes,
I
ended up
saw
on
that
stage
one.
at
That
the
was
end.
probably one of 2 that I've watched.
And that's how bad social media is, because even if you look at this in real world, instead of calling for help, they want to record it
Take their phone out.
because they want to post it to whatever social media platform that they have so they can get the most amount of likes. I did it first. Look at this. Look at
Sure,
me.
but it's been a saving grace for so many people that you've been able to record in the entire thing,
Mm-hmm.
the
It
entire incident, as it were. It's been a saving grace for people.
it has been a saving grace, but initially when social media was put out there, I listened to some of the developers, some of the creators, and some of the CEOs that ran some of these big platforms. And when they initially started social media, it was supposed to be for good.
Sure. That's how most things start out.
And that's exactly what they said. A lot of things start out for good, but then money comes behind
Of course.
everything.
Right.
Look at the
S-
ads we get.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest thing, and this is the reason why. And it was funny that when I was watching this, and as I was listening to these guys talk about how they manipulate people on social media, how they have thousands of people sitting back in a room just figuring out how to get you to stay on
Yep.
that platform as long as you can. And one of the creators of one of the platforms, or one of the CEOs of whichever platform, I can't remember what it was, but said that it's just like you go to Vegas. You go to Vegas, you play the
Yep.
slots,
Yep.
and you wait to see what comes up, and then you click on it.
Did you
But
It's
you
watch?
that
can-
reward
Yeah,
process in your
exactly.
brain.
And you continue to do it over and over and over again. So now you're sucked in for hours doing that.
Mhm.
Did you watch The Social Dilemma yet?
I sure did.
Yeah, I didn't finish watching it.
You're the one who needs to watch it.
Yeah, I have read the reviews. I started watching it and I did it.
Did that come out this year or was that last year?
I think it came out
well,
recently.
It was filmed, I believe, in 2018 or
okay.
2019, because they referred to some of the dates
Yeah.
during the interviews.
Yeah.
But what's interesting about that, a lot of those people that created these do not let their children on social media
Sure.
or give them some of this technology,
Right.
Mhm.
because this technology, it's not good anymore.
Do you think though that with what you do daily, you can disconnect? And if you can, how long?
Are you asking me, can I disconnect? Hell yeah, I can disconnect.
So you can disconnect from the convenience of ordering online, texting, news. You use your phone daily.
Because it's like you just mentioned, it's a convenience.
So that's what I'm
But-
asking. Could
but,
you
yeah,
would you
I
not be
I
able
could.
to?
I could go down to the store if I want to buy something, but the problem with that is there's not too many things in the store anymore that you want to pick up. Everything that you want, you have to order offline, or you even have to order it from them if you walk to the store or go to the store
Sure.
and walk in and pick it up.
Right.
We do have brick and mortar stores still.
I'm
But-
asking, could you?
I could, but why do you think I couldn't separate myself from that?
Because the first thing that we do when we leave the house is, I think I left my phone.
No, that's the first thing you do.
John Carter.
No. Do you know why?
John Carter.
Okay. No. I have a witness.
When you
if I
leave
leave
your
my
phone,
if I leave
it
my
doesn't matter whether you leave it for the day. You still say it.
if I leave my phone,
You
who's the
notice
first
it.
person that says anything? Is you. You always say, "Go back and get your phone." I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't
That's-
need my phone.
That's different.
And the only
That's
reason
not the first thing I
and
say.
the only reason why
You can't put
I
that
know
on
my
me.
phone is gone is not because I'm searching social media while I'm driving. It's because
I didn't say
listen to
social media.
podcasts on my way to work.
Exactly.
And I forget my phone. And then I go, oh, I forgot my phone. And I just tell you that. And the reason why I tell you that, because if you call my phone and it's I don't have it or I'm not answering.
You're missing the point. It doesn't matter. We use our phones for everything.
Okay, so what is the meaning behind that?
The meaning is that you too you have some form of addiction. You can't just say you were implying that it was me, that I need to watch Social Dilemma as if I had just the addiction, when
There's no chance I have an addiction to
Bet
social
money.
media.
I bet money
There's no chance.
you're talking on a platform that is a part of it. So what are you talking about?
So
Ladies and gentlemen, he's in denial.
it's not any denial. Just like I said on the last episode, how
What?
much fake shit do I put out there? Like,
What does
other
that have
social
to do
media
with
people.
it? I'm not talking about communicating with people. I'm talking about the use of your phone and the use of being connected. We all are connected.
convenience.
That's what I was gonna say. There's a difference between an addiction and a need for, being on that for some sort of validation, and using it as a way of communication,
Sure.
or a business, something along those lines.
You have a point. Yeah, you have a point.
It's necessary these days to have a cell phone.
It is necessary.
And could I
It's necessary for our children to have phones.
get away from using my phone? Yes, I can.
I could get away from using our phone. Would I like it? No.
See, you're I don't know. It's just like, what do they call that?
She made the point.
No, I know she made the point, but what do they call that when somebody's a drug addict and then they storm in, like you walk in, the whole family is there? Intervention. That's what she's trying to do.
No, that's not what
she's
I'm trying to.
She's in denial. That's what that is.
No, am I in denial about myself?
Yeah, yourself.
Totally.
Because
not.
you're trying to put it on me. Well,
no, I
I'm not
didn't.
a drug addict. I saw you smoke
Oh,
weed when you're
deflecting.
5 years old.
No.
There you go. See, deflecting
No,
it.
That's not what I'm saying. I own.
But
I
you're
own what I
saying
do.
you were saying
I was talking
it
about
like,
you because you made the implication. You made the implication. So
that
I
could not live without my
you
phone.
made the implication
without-
that I needed to watch social. What's it called? Social Dilemma. You made an implication that I needed to watch it.
So just like anybody that goes to Alcoholics Anonymous,
You
any one of those
missed my
drugs
point.
program, just like Chantel said, you deflected it.
I'm not.
deflecting it.
I was defending what I was saying. I was only saying that
You're defending your addiction.
What I'm saying is that no, I'm not defending it. I own it. That's the difference. I'm owning it. You weren't. I told you, even in the last episode, I said it's an extension of me. I can't imagine being without it. I can. Do I want to? No. I was only saying you should probably own up to stuff. Stop simply putting it on me.
So what you're implying is that I'm also addicted to social media.
I'm saying that you're addicted to your phone, the internet. It doesn't matter whether it's social media, and we're on a platform. So yes, a part of you is.
Okay, that's an awkward silence because I'm just staring. Because
okay, good. Let's move on.
Yeah, that's because
let's
none of
move
this
on.
makes
Well, let's
any
go
sense.
back. So I wanted to talk about Chantel, when you are on the cusp of just when internet was coming out.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about it now that it's fully taken over? Like you're on the last part. How do you see yourself? You have both sides coming up. You know what I mean? You were in school, trying to get on the internet, at home, trying to get on MySpace, things like that. How do you feel about it in general?
Yeah, because I mean, at that age, when I was in school, I use it pretty much to talk to my friends or to just do cool stuff on the internet with my friends, or so I understand that part of it, but now it's become a complete lifestyle for a lot of people. Because at this age, that is how you can get in touch with older friends over the internet. But I think it's much different for a lot of people in my age range. I don't want to say millennials, but people in my age range, because it's like we see the toxicness.
You can see it.
Yeah, you can see it. So it's just like most times you kind of just want to like observe more than engage. Right. Does that make sense?
It does.
When you do engage with other people, the only engagement that they want to receive from you is a like.
Yeah.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, they care not one thing about you as long as you're liking their picture or just liking their video or something like that.
Have you known anybody that took it serious to where they wanted to harm themselves? Do you know of people maybe in your high school? Because by then it started really going, like, even with bullying and...
Well, of course, with like cell phones, but not necessarily social media, because whenever a girl did something or something happened, whatever in school, it got spread around through text messages or the pictures got sent out.
Ah, got it.
Yeah, but nothing like somebody was getting bullied online and then they harmed themselves.
With social media, it's much faster than it used to be because, like you said, you text message and somebody passed it on to somebody else. But now it's much quicker. You post it online. Everybody's with friends. You have 1,000 people that are seeing this just instantaneously. And that's the thing, how they get you sucked in is because one of these people that I listened to talk about this said that, why is it that you have to click on something to see a picture? So you know how you get like a notification, instead of the notification having a picture in it, you actually have to click it to go through the platform in order to see the picture. And while you're on that platform, they have ways to keep you sucked in.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like regular email. When you go into the office in the morning and they always say, do not check your email first unless you have to. And once you read one email, it's over. You start replying back to all of your emails. It's just kind of something that you do. There's a video of a gentleman that says, what do we do when we first wake up? We all check our phones, whether that's to check the weather, check the news,
the time,
all of that. Then the next part is validation.
I wake up, I turn off my alarm, I go pee.
Sure, most people do this. And then he said, then for validation, you go on the internet. Oh, Monica, she's in the hospital. Oh, you should see this shirt Sally is wearing and she expects for me to like her post. Things like that. And so you got to get your little bit of validation and then you start with your day. Only you go back less than an hour later to check back to see if anybody liked your post.
It's not even an hour.
No.
It's not even an hour. It's almost sometimes instantly. You post something, you wait a couple of seconds, then you go back and go, oh, did they look at my thing?
Right.
Nobody liked it yet. So, and that's the thing that I heard too, is like, because of that, you post a picture or you post whatever on your social media platform, nobody likes it. And that's where that depression comes in.
Yeah, the self-esteem.
It's just, oh my God, I had the cutest shirt on, but nobody's liking my picture. Now, like you said, the self-esteem. It's crazy. I mean,
it's sad.
It is sad. I mean, just like I mentioned before, it is terrible, terrible, terrible behavior. I mean, it is that it's an addiction. I mean, you have people that have been working with drug addiction for years, seeing people for social media addiction.
Yeah, and they don't know how to handle it. Right.
Well, I was just going to say, most of the time when they're developing their new algorithms or whatever for these platforms, clearly they're looking at is it psychological studies? Is that the word?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, that's what's going into it too. Like you said, draw people in, make sure they're hooked or continue to use it. And then now you'll see on Instagram, which is why I'm about to completely delete it, because I don't even know if I'm going to even use it that much anymore, is the ads.
Yeah.
I keep telling people that social media is basically becoming Minority Report.
Yeah.
How the ads are popping up every which way
Every
you go.
which way.
And one day it's just going to be popping up in front of our face whenever we walk into a grocery store.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
So that whole thing is so irritating because now you can scroll and look at people that you like, but you can also shop. It takes you right directly to the shop.
To the shop.
And with your platform, like you said, they purposely design this algorithm and it's intuitive. So it learns what you do.
Yep.
So it learns your habits, it learns your patterns. So whatever you shop for before you shop for, it'll continually pop up.
Yep.
And
like TikTok's For You page.
And what's interesting about it
is that what it's called? For You page?
What's interesting about it is one of the phrases that someone said is that if you're not paying for the product, you're the product.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you don't sit and think about that. That is true, because if you go back to old school television, the TV channels sold ads, but now they're selling our data.
Yep.
Yeah, data brokers, that's what they're called.
That's it. I mean, it's just like the stock market. Like you said, brokers, they're just like the stock market. They're trading us like we are in the stock market.
Right.
Stock market.
I always tell people about this documentary I saw a long time ago, and I'm not sure if this was before or after. I took like a 5-year break off of Facebook, Instagram, like all of that type of stuff. But I think it's called The Terms of Service or something along those lines. Did you see it?
I don't think I watched it, but I know what you're talking about.
But basically, my biggest takeaway was the terms of service for everything. They make them that long for a reason. They put specific, law jargon in there.
Verbiage.
Verbiage to not necessarily confuse you, but so you're not necessarily sure, like straight across the board, what you're agreeing to. And we all know since before how long we've just clicked that.
Yep.
And now they saw that people aren't
reading it.
So they continue to just put whatever you when you click that button, you're basically agreeing to whatever. You're on this platform, so we can use your content and your data how we want to.
Yep.
And you watch TV with all these social media videos that are on these commercials that these platforms are probably making a bunch of money off of selling them.
Yep.
How much you think those people in the video are making?
Yep.
Zero.
And they're probably sized because they see themselves on TV, but they're being sold. And they agreed to be sold.
Yep.
I know.
It's insane. I mean, not only the factor that these billionaires are just manipulating it's the world. It's not just the United States. It's the entire world that's addicted to, not everybody, but someone, every country in this entire world have people that are addicted to this social media.
Right.
It's insane. And did you watch it at all? That Social Dilemma?
No. Usually whatever documentary comes out the year and people are hype about it, I don't take a look at it.
Well, on this one, you got to watch this. When we first sparked up the mics, I didn't know how bad this was. When the CEOs and people that created these platforms can't even control themselves on the platforms either.
I didn't know that.
A lot of them quit these places to get off social media totally because they design these platforms and they go, okay, we're designing this to get people in, we're starting to make money and things. And they notice themselves that they're using it more and more. First, they come home with their phone or in their computer. Oh, because it's work. It's work. And then all of a sudden they're sucked in and now they can't control their own usage and they know what they're doing to other people, but they can't stop it themselves. It's no different from like someone selling drugs that's doing the drug. It's
getting high off their own supply.
Getting high off their own supply. And people get addicted. And that's how people get addicted. They give you a little bit and then you go, that was pretty good. Well, I give you a little bit more until they suck you in. And then once they suck you in, they got you for a customer for life.
Yeah.
That's what that guy, Skylar, the director, is it? The guy that made the movie, he was talking about it on Ellen as well. And same with that guy, what is his name? Duran?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
The guy with the dreads. He was
Oh,
on the Breakfast Club almost a year ago.
He is like considered one of the godfathers or fathers of virtual reality or something like that.
And he said he was the first person that brought it to the forefront saying, get off the internet. I mean, as far as I know, I didn't see it beforehand. Anybody telling you to get off the internet. And he was one of the first people.
I remember this was back, oh my God, probably
and
2014 when like the first CEO or something of Facebook, when she said she had to get off, she just went cold turkey, got rid of social media because she realized back then how bad social media was.
Right.
I mean, because let's look at our technology. Just take a look how much the country and the world has put in time and money to develop technology.
Right.
So we're getting really advanced because of our technology, artificial intelligence. But what happened to our intelligence? Our intelligence has not increased.
Nope.
Our brains have not increased. If anything, we're going backwards. Just think about it. We talked about this last week.
Well, if that was the case, then Udemy and all of those, what is it, Skillshare and all that stuff wouldn't be be so popular.
What do you mean? What's I don't know what Skillshare
learning
is.
Tools, learning internet, learning all that stuff.
But you know what that is?
What?
Somebody selling an advertisement. That's what that is, right?
What do you mean?
Somebody selling. How do you know about Udemy?
Because someone shared it with me.
And this is what we're talking about. Compared to the number of people that are using it and to the people that are seeing it, they outnumber like probably 1,000,000 to 1. How many people do you know use these platforms?
Udemy?
Yeah.
All the younger kids, you
can't say all.
Okay.
Do you
didn't let me finish.
Whitney, do you use it?
You certainly you didn't let me finish.
Go ahead.
All of the kids that I worked with use Udemy. They use Udemy, and I can't remember the other one. Was it Odesk or whatever?
Since you brought it, what's it used for?
Coding and mostly coding, tech stuff.
So it's a platform to learn to do the same thing that we're talking about.
Yeah, to learn. But you said we're getting but they're learning from like masters. You're saying that we haven't increased, and I'm just saying maybe slightly.
No, actually, what you're explaining, you're saying is someone is
but
passing.
Udemy is for everything.
You're saying the information that's already out there is being passed on to someone else to use that information. That's what they're learning. They're not developing or creating anything in their mind. They're not inventing anything. They're learning how to from someone else. And they're teaching
that's
their
how
ways.
you do in school. That's what you do in college. That's
okay.
I don't know what you're talking about. If
what we're talking, you may have missed the entire point. What I'm saying is the advancement. There are a lot less.
So people can advance their careers.
There's a lot less. Okay, let's simplify this a little bit.
Okay.
We talked about this before. When like children now, a lot of children can't spell. A lot of children can't tell time.
Right.
Everybody used the emojis and stuff. They're going back to the Egyptian times, using pictures to talk. But you ask them to write anything down. They cannot write it down. They cannot spell it. So the development of our brain is not being as developed. It's not a generalization. It is true because it's gotten to most people. I mean, even me, because it's simple for you to like
put
now.
A smiley face.
No, not put. I'm talking about even just work purposes. In work purposes, when you write an email, you have auto check, right? Auto spell. So you don't really care about if you misspell a word. You go back, you use auto spell. They correct your grammar and everything like that. So if you just like anything that if you don't utilize it, it starts to die. Just like your muscles. If you do not use your muscles, muscles start to atrophy and die.
Agree.
The same thing that's happening to the human brain. Because we think we're being we're advancing because we're developing technology, but we're developing technology to think for us, right?
Okay, right.
So this is what this is all about, because we can't even think.
Yeah.
We can't even think anymore without, instead of cracking open a book, everybody picks up their phone and goes directly to Google to ask them.
Before Google, what did we do? Cha-cha. Oh, we did Google too. Wasn't it?
Google came out when I was a child. So
Yeah, but no, they had Ask Jeeves and things like that. They
we had books.
Yeah, they had books. I mean, you had to go books,
dictionaries, encyclopedias.
or there was places that you got a phone number, and if it's something that you needed to know, you call the information line.
Right.
Right.
Or looked in the yellow book.
That's
That's it.
true.
We don't do that anymore. We don't go out to look for anything.
What's the difference?
What's the difference?
You remember how we used to call 411?
To get information.
I'm saying, what's the difference? What's the difference between me looking at the internet?
So let's say with Siri, some people probably can't even read. It'll get to the point where you're not even reading anything because you just asked a question and it'll tell you.
It's
so
for
now,
convenience.
now you pick up a
answered-
book. But what I'm trying to explain to you is that
I got your point. I just wanted to throw that in there.
the
What
evolution of our brain is not going to increase just because we get this technology. It's just like I said moments ago.
about it? Right.
We're
I'm
making
not negating what
technology
you're saying.
to think for us, to make life better. All right.
More convenient, that's for sure.
Well, convenience is, people lump that in the same basket.
Yeah.
Convenience.
And the crazy part about it is, because this is not even what we were just talking about, but it came up when you were saying that. What were you saying? Basically, how like we're not using our brains the same way. I think about how there's children out there whose parents solely depend upon a little tablet or the TV screen, no engagement, no any type of practicing of it blows my mind.
No interpersonal skills.
Nothing. So how do they expect for their kids to truly develop? Because you can show a kid something on the screen of the computer and he'll just like pretty much mimic what you're doing.
Exactly.
Right.
It's not really them learning.
They're not absorbing the information.
Exactly.
And you mentioned that,
Retaining.
it's the same thing that they talk about in colleges and schools, because during a test, you just memorize enough information to pass the test,
Mhm.
but you're not learning anything at all.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's sad.
Very.
I mean, it's sad, and people really don't understand that how this affects the world pretty
Mhm.
much. And people depend on it so much. This world can survive without technology, really. We can
could.
still eat. I mean, we can still breathe.
Right.
We would just have to adjust to a new norm, just like we are with this whole COVID thing. And the COVID thing made this even worse, because you have everyone at home,
Mhm.
quarantined in
Mhm.
their home. So now people that weren't addicted to social media are.
Yep.
And people that weren't using these platforms are. And it's funny that I know one of our really good friends, your good friends, she don't come out her house, but she be Zooming though.
Oh yeah. Mhm. She just Zooms you or FaceTimes you.
Yep.
It's one of my friends.
Mhm.
Yes.
I don't
You
know.
talk to her very often.
Very often.
My sister?
No, ma'am.
Okay, let's move it on.
Anyways.
I don't
Without
know who
saying
you guys
names,
are talking about. I
she's
don't
really
know.
not going to get anything. But that's bad. I mean, even like right now, our
Oh, I just got it.
our internet infrastructure cannot deal with the capacity right now, because there's so many people at home. You have people working from home.
Yep.
You have people working at work on a computer. You have the kids at school. And not only that, is you have on the same internet, people are on their Wi-Fi on social media platforms the same time they're trying to do their work, and wondering why the hell is my computer going so damn slow.
Right.
Just like you said, you got 80 windows open. Close some of that shit.
88.
For what?
I reference
just in
all
case,
of them.
In case you need to go back, it's going to
Yeah.
disappear. The information will never come back again.
I don't have time to do that. I can just click the tabs.
But why would you complain about your computer or phone being slow?
I don't.
Sorry,
I only complain about it when it's slower than
Anyway.
usual.
Anyways, so I was having a conversation with one of my coworkers because she was saying that, you know, are people more aware, or is it just because all this information that's out there is easily accessible? Because we're absorbing so much throughout the day. That's how we get our news. That's how we get any type of information is online. So is it basically more things happening in the world, or is it the same amount? We're just more aware of it. You know what I mean?
I don't think it's more things happening in the world.
Yeah.
And what it is because more things are accessible to us. That's
exactly.
all. That's it. Because actually, if you ever watch the news, or just not even have to watch it, but just listen, that how many killings or shootings,
tragedies,
you know, that has gone down. They always put out the numbers. Oh, we're down, 30% in violent crimes.
Right.
But before, you didn't see when it's at 100%.
Right.
You didn't see those.
Mm-hmm.
But now you see everything on social media.
Right.
I mean, because even with you even working in the media, the real media, not social media.
Right.
How when social media first cracked, nobody was fact checking anything before they put it out there because they wanted the story out there first.
Yeah.
There was so many
That's
stories.
still the case.
The real media.
Yeah.
Reputable source.
Sure.
Reputable media. They fact check.
You're right. Sure.
But we're not talking about on social media. We're talking about them. But even reputable sources weren't fact checking because they had people that they hired for social media. What did they call them back then? When people first came, you used to work in human resources and you got these people, you trained these people or did their human resource stuff.
I'm sorry.
Jeez. But these people just came in, they had a laptop, a camera, they went out, they send their stories in, and then they put them in the newspaper. And then the next day they have to retract it because they find out the information is not true.
Right.
Or all of the information is not true because no one fact checked. So there was no checks and balances when the social media first came on.
Right.
Online with the reputable media sources. With reputable media sources, you have so many people out there are so into their influencer or the person that they follow on whichever media platform, like I said before, that they do not believe any media source at all anymore. Right. They don't. They do not believe any media source because you can go by and you ask people, everything is all twisted up. Everything is all twisted up because they'll take it, they'll watch it on the news. Okay. And they'll twist it up and send it to their base, and their base spread it out to their people. The whole damn story is totally different from what it originally was.
Like telephone.
I mean, it's crazy.
Like
I mean, it's absolutely insane. And these people truly, truly don't know that this is designed by someone to manipulate you.
Sure. Some people don't. There are
a lot of people that don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Because
I was trying to avoid using the word a lot because you use it a lot.
If you have a group of
Come on, I'm funny.
If you have a group of people and in that group, you only listen to that group of people, you can't get any other perspective of anything else outside of that group.
Sure. It's why people now bicker and unfriend one another because they're not like-minded.
Yeah.
So they don't respect other people's opinions or where they get their information.
Why should you have the right to an opinion? Because my opinion is right and yours is not.
Yeah. They don't respect one another.
No, they don't.
Days, not anymore.
I mean, it's so easy to manipulate people these days.
It really is.
It really, like, you just say something and it'll set one person off.
Yeah.
People believe memes. Instead of saying, you see the memes that'll say, it'll be someone that's disabled and it'll say, my mom's upset. No one will say happy birthday to me. And you look at that picture to vet it. You go, girl, this little kid, it was not this kid's birthday.
Oh, you're talking about those memes when they like
yeah, but there are people
person.
and I was at the doctor's office and this lady was saying the poor kids, they're all on my timeline and nobody wished them a happy birthday. I wish I had their address to send them a birthday card. They're easily manipulated. Then you see things about just even political wise, what's true and what's not true. And that's probably the biggest thing going on right now on social media is political. And that's what breaks up families, your job.
Yeah.
Everything. And it makes you look different without, and the thing is, it's only there. You're not thinking about real life, especially someone you shared a childhood with. And you're going, I can't believe that you fell for this. Is this the same person that I grew up with? And a lot of it's based on opinion or what they have their like-minded friends. And if it makes sense to them, then it's true.
They don't understand.
Without fact
opinion
checking.
is not a fact.
That's you're exactly
They don't
right.
understand that.
Yeah.
And people that don't believe in technology, they fall for this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They don't believe that the government can take over. They don't believe first of all, they don't believe the government at all. There are certain groups that don't.
Did you know that?
And thank you.
Sorry.
I'm speaking. If you didn't watch the debate, you got to go back and watch it. But people that don't believe in technology, they don't believe on how advanced technology is.
No.
Those are the ones who they target because they're the most ignorant of it, because they don't understand it at all.
Mm-hmm.
To throw in the government, did you see that the House is trying to split the big tech companies apart? Amazon. I'm sorry?
Whose house?
Wow. The House of Representatives.
Thank you.
Everybody should know
Go
that.
ahead.
Are you serious right now?
Some people in other countries may not know this.
Yes. I'm pretty sure other people in other countries
Continue
know.
your story.
Anyway, they want to break up the companies, Amazon, Google, and what's the other one? Facebook. They want to break them up. And kind of like they said they shouldn't be like mega giants.
Facebook is
monopolies.
owned by Google.
Yeah, monopolies.
Google owns most.
They're trying to break it up. They shouldn't own that much and have that much power, for lack of a better word. I don't know when they're going to vote on it. I don't know if they are, but it was presented to the House. So we'll see. What that means is one side is, you said before, it's convenient. Most people can do one-click shopping. You just do one-click shopping. That's why Amazon is so big. I can get this same day. I can get this the next day. I'm all in. Do you see what I'm saying? Or I can connect to this person on Facebook like right now, and I can support them by giving them money. I can sponsor them and pay for them if they need money through Facebook. Do you see what I'm saying? Everything is like one click now.
I mean,
through these giants.
Yeah, you don't even have to say much more because we all know that everything is convenient. I mean,
the government is trying to break it up, is my
fast
point.
Food,
so my point
make
is
it even faster.
There's a reason why they're that big. Can you imagine if they broke up the company? Then you have Joe Schmo from his basement, just like a Google guy. What's his name?
Well, they started from their garage with one little computer and grew. I mean, Facebook the same way and grew. People invested and they grew their company.
Yeah, I'm saying you'll have Schmo, and it's not going to be that way anymore. And then it's going to go move to a platform where you have to actually pay not just Prime, but you'll have to pay. You'll even probably have to pay for Facebook if you bring in all these. Break it up, I don't know. I think it's a double-edged sword.
It is a double-edged sword. But the thing about that is, if you start to put stuff behind a paywall, less people will use it.
Yeah, I guess. No.
So the advertisers, those are the ones who pay for these platforms. So if you were to get large enough, you wouldn't need to be behind the paywall because the advertisement would pay for your company.
That's true.
And that would be the same. Doesn't matter how small your company is or how big it gets. It would be the same format for the advertisers.
I was thinking that when they did it with cable companies, I was pretty happy about that because you weren't just trapped into even though it's still you're only trapped into, depending upon where you live, you're either trapped in that neighborhood or you're trapped to that area. They only have that
think
company.
about it in this respect. Of course, there are some communist countries that you can't get on all the platforms. I know
Right.
this
Sure.
around the world.
Right.
But you said the word trap. There's nothing trapping you to a social media platform. You can always disconnect. You can always jump to another platforms. It's your choice to do that. It's your choice to be there.
Sure. You're right. Not to change the subject, but I wanted to go back to what Chantel was saying last week off mic when we were talking about algorithms. Didn't you mention something about it when we...
Oh, we already touched on that, how it's designed for you to continue to scroll. That's why they changed the whole...
Yeah, we talked about that earlier.
No, I thought she said something else. I thought she said something else with it, but okay.
I think that was the basis of what I was trying to say.
Got it. So are you on the fence of getting rid of your Instagram, or you think you are going to do it?
I already got rid of it once this year.
To circle back to the actual addiction, I think it's no different, like I said, from being addicted to drugs. Because if people are committing suicide because they can't get their fix of social media, we have to see this as not only a nation, as a world, that this is a huge problem.
Right.
I can understand because I watch fantasy movies, I watch sci-fi movies, I watch the cartoon movies. So there's some escape from reality for me, but it should not be a total escape from all reality.
Right.
You're right.
Yeah.
A lot of reasons why people get on social media is because of avoidance.
Avoiding what?
Life.
That's what I said. Escape.
Yeah.
A total escape.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's all about mindfulness, and people aren't really mindful when they use those apps, because all they're looking for is that gratification of seeing somebody beautiful, or whatever they're on the internet for, pretty much.
So when I go to sleep at night, and what keeps me asleep is that I turn on something on social media like YouTube so I can hear the background noise to bore me to go back to sleep. But I have to be plugged in order for me to go back to sleep. I can turn on the TV, but then there's a light. So that's the problem. But if I have my phone and I turn it upside down, I just click a video. And a lot of times I'm just pressing replay.
So how do we fix this? I mean,
that was random, but it was worth sharing.
Do you think this,
in my opinion,
pandemic, it's not an epidemic, it's a pandemic. You think we can ever fix this?
No, we're all going to be in the matrix. We're going to be assimilated.
Ever fix what? People's social media addiction?
No.
Yes.
Never.
See,
go ahead.
Like you said, it's split across the board, because some people through this pandemic, they've become more addicted to technology or whatever. They didn't address what was necessarily going on in their life. But there's others who addressed what was actually going on because they had the time to. Then they recognize the pattern, the toxic things that they've been doing it. And they're just like, what am I doing on Instagram for when I should be living my life?
Yep.
People were outside dying, like, maybe a couple doors down, somebody died. Like, that really puts things into perspective for some people.
Right.
Like, this could really be my last week.
I have become more bitter since the pandemic. I've become more angry online. So I definitely need to reevaluate what I'm doing.
Because that's your outlet to express your anger.
Yeah, it is.
Because of whatever you're upset about.
Yeah,
I know, but that's a bad precedence to set, though.
It's just a distraction.
I know it's because you're
angry. It's a distraction, but that's what I do.
You're angry on the inside, so it's just like lashing out at somebody else. That's all that is.
So
there's no need to argue with anybody on social media at all.
I don't argue. I debate.
There's no need to debate.
Yes,
anybody on social media.
It's not a need, but it feels great.
If there's something that you don't like and it's not in your presence, you can just dismiss it.
Keep it moving.
Well, I don't choose to do that.
And that's a problem. And that
It's a
is
problem for you. It's not a problem for me.
no, that's the problem with the world and the problem with people being addicted to social media.
Right.
That is a tremendous problem.
Some people don't know how to be with themselves because, like I said, it's a distraction.
Yeah.
If you're upset about one thing, or if you have such a strong feeling towards, I guess, a certain president, then the moment somebody even mentions a small little detail, you get wrapped up in that in your mind, and then you just
wild out.
Yeah. From then on, you're just going crazy.
My problem is not just for that. It's for everything. So I'm debating everything. So that's my signal to disconnect and maybe not go on those things that trigger me, because I'm going to say something. So,
And look how many people have went to jail, fired from their jobs.
Yep.
Off of dumb shit on social media.
You're right.
And nobody has learned their lesson yet.
Yeah, apparently I haven't. I don't want to lose my job or anything over it.
Well, people are.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes.
so
I
that
know.
is more important to you.
Most jobs have
than
an
a
online
job.
policy.
And the most insane part about it is, I'm sure we've known since the early 2010s, even before then, there's no such thing as privacy. So
Nope.
now whenever there's some sort of like extreme group out there, they can find your address. They can find where you work. Exactly.
They dox you and find
So
everything
now
about
it becomes like almost like a security type of thing.
you.
Yeah.
It is a security issue.
And that's another reason why I'm not about to sit here and argue with somebody on the internet.
I debate. I don't argue.
Somebody can just be way too loose, have too many screws loose, and they just say, you know what, just type their little thing on the computer, and then be like, oh, she works over here, so let me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
See, and all these, these groups that are out there. I don't know if you guys know who Flavor Flav is, or the hype man is. Should I explain what Flavor Flav is? Who he is?
Very briefly.
No, but if I guess everybody might be too. A lot of people are too young to watch
Google
TV
it.
shows. So Google Flavor Flav hype man. What hype man is a person that pumps
He didn't say
up
what group he was in.
He was in a group called Public Enemy. He was a hype man for the lead rapper Chuck D. And what a hype man is a person that sits behind that man.
Not behind.
Do you want to explain it?
No,
you want to explain it? You want to go ahead?
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
You got it.
No, you're
doing
explaining.
well. My
you
apologies.
know it.
Go ahead.
But he's the person that is behind that lead person, since we're talking about what they call it, extremist groups, that hypes up the group. So he jumps out in front of the crowd before the man gets on stage to give his speech.
Yeah.
So he hypes up the crowd. And now when a man comes on stage, the crowd's already riled.
Yep.
They want to do whatever that man says.
Yeah.
And they go out and do it because that hype man hyped them up first.
Right.
And this is what this goddamn social media is doing. It's hyping these people up. And then when they hear from the man tells you what you should be doing. And you go, you're damn right, because they're already hyped about it.
They're feeling really froggy.
And that is the dangers of social media. And that's the dangers that people really don't understand. Not because that's even separate from the addiction, because you have these extremist groups. They're not addicted to social media. They go to it for their news. They go to it for their marching orders. This is what they do.
Right.
So my man said this, so we should do that. They may not have said it exactly. They may have said it in code, but the way you took it is, we need to do this. I don't want to say no names, but things out there. So that's why I'm talking in code too.
I mean, I can only imagine how many people are out there like that.
There's a lot of hate.
And they're growing.
And for sure.
It's growing. I mean, compared to there were a bunch of hate groups out there previously, but the state of what's going on in this world today has brought them all out of the woodwork.
All the cuckoos.
Yep. Because they feel empowered for some reason. And there's no one able to shut them down. And they have one of the biggest platforms in the world to use is social media.
Sure.
Back in the day, and they still did it. I've seen it as recent as last year, where certain groups put flyers on the porch and cars of people to invite them to join their organization.
Well, social media can be used for all types of dark things, and people are addicted to that. I feel like some of it's already been in them, and that's just the catalyst, and
Yeah.
it makes it worse. It's easy. It's accessible. The darkest of dark.
It's a larger platform. I mean, social media, it is the largest platform to reach out to whomever you're trying to suck in.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you go searching, you'll find it.
Yeah. And people do look for it. And I mean, you don't even have to search for it. They search for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
You know, they could, I mean, really, because even Al Qaeda and some of these extremist groups, they were using the internet to find people.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear about the guy that was in Gainesville that just got arrested for espionage?
No, I don't. I believe it because it's been Fairfax, Arlington, a lot of people around
He
here.
was spying for Russia.
Is this an old story?
Nope.
Because several people
I
have been
promise
popped
you
for
it's not.
Russia.
I promise you it's
spying
not.
for Russia.
And I'll share something with you offline. But it was due to a Google search on a certain company, and I said, "Oh, they have been implicated on some of the paperwork of this guy. He's in Gainesville, and he was spying for Russia. He had fallen on bad times, I guess. And
now to Russia, with the last election, you know, they blamed Russia for not rigging, but what
they sought him out, by the way. Like you said, that was my point of even sharing that.
But they were saying that Russia interfering with the election.
Yep.
It wasn't necessarily that they did it all from the inside, like from the government. They just did it on social media.
Yeah.
But they were trying to imply that we don't know if some people in the government were in cahoots with them, but they were just imply it was all through the government. And they use the same goddamn algorithms that the social media platforms to spew whatever propaganda they wanted to out to the people that they focused on.
Still trying it.
Now that everybody's doing it in the world. I mean, because, you know, that's why like a lot of technology that we have that come from China, they want to ban using that because the, you know, Chinese
TikTok
technology can spy on what we're doing in the United States. And even the government, there are chips that the government bought that was from Huawei.
From who?
Huawei. Remember those phones that we can't get? They're supposed to be amazing phones, but they banned them coming to the United States because, and the CEO, that chick that was running the company, she got popped in New York coming to like a meeting or something, and she went to jail.
Wow.
Anyway, that's beyond.
Besides the point.
Yeah, that's besides the point. But I mean, this is, you know, I know we keep going, you know, down different avenues, but it's the same thing. It's all about social media, and it's the way the use of social media is dangerous. I mean, for an addiction itself, anything that you're addicted to, it's not good for you.
Right.
Because if you can't just stop it at any point, it's not good.
Yeah.
So I don't see how people don't see it as a problem.
Right.
Because they don't want to.
Yeah, they don't want to. Just like drug addicts, just like alcoholics, they don't, to them, it's not a problem. That's their perception of their reality.
Right.
So they continue on with it. This is how the world is, and this is what I'm doing. And another token is, how can you sit and talk? I mean, they can't even talk to anybody else.
Yeah.
They cannot have a conversation with anyone else. If they were to sit here across the table from you, there would be no conversation. They
Right.
don't know how to spark up a conversation at all.
Yeah.
The first thing they would do is ask you about some damn cat video or some shit like that.
I love
You
cat
know what I
videos.
mean?
Right.
That's it. Something that they've seen on social media, but not a conversation like, well, how was your day? What did you do? Oh,
Mm-mm.
blase this.
Yeah.
I mean, look at dating. People don't even know how to date anymore. They have to go to a dating app. You have to get matches for you. You can't go anywhere to pick somebody up. I won't say pick up, but to meet someone,
Mm-hmm.
because people don't want to talk to anybody at first.
Well, also you're forgetting that kids that are just younger than her, that's how they communicate. So and some people are only behind a computer all day. They don't know how to communicate.
I know, but
Yeah.
that goes back to what I said earlier.
Yeah.
So you're shunting your development as a human, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Because
yeah.
you're depending on artificial intelligence
Sure.
for everything,
Certainly.
to talk for you, to think for you, everything. Now, just like we said before, you're going to get some goggles or you're going to get a chair. You sit in a chair, send an avatar out there so you don't have to do shit.
I would love that to make grocery runs for me, if I'm being honest.
You can do that now. A lot of places have those little robots. You
Do the
type it on
Amazon
the internet
thing
and then they deliver it for you.
they do, but yeah. Can they get upstairs? That'd be
Well, Amazon gets upstairs with their drivers.
or their droids. What do you call them? Drones.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
everything. I mean, we're getting so dependent on technology. And we're so dependent on technology that it's bad.
Yeah.
And it's not going to get, I think it's going to get worse.
Well, you
Much,
say
much
worse.
worse.
Some people say better. I think it depends on whom you ask. What do you think, Whitney?
Do I think it's going to get better or worse?
Yeah. Okay.
I called you by your middle name.
Let's
Sorry. What do you think?
let's say it in this way, that not better or worse, because as we develop technology, the technology gets better to make things easier for humans.
Mm-hmm.
But the development of humans as a species
Will evolve.
devolve.
That's your opinion. What do you think?
You weren't even near the mic when you said that.
That's your opinion. What do you think?
Honestly, I can't say, because I'm just thinking of multiple different things at once that are most likely going to change because of technology.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there's going to be it's good and it's bad,
Mm-hmm.
at least within, our span of life.
Yeah.
Well, one good thing that may come out of technology is that the Neuralink that Elon Musk is working on, because they're working on people that say they're paralyzed or blind to be
Yeah.
able to see and things like that. You get it to the point where you have technology to make us physically better.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to be able to afford it.
Right.
So only the rich people, it would cause a huge gap between the rich and the poor,
Mhm.
and not only financially, because they would be superior to the poor people by leaps and bounds. You can stay young, you can fix your limbs. I mean, you can do everything with technology, but just like the movies, we'll be underground somewhere where you have only the rich people that are up here with technology.
Right.
So it will, like I said, it will get better as far as technology, the advancements of technology, but as a race, or the human race, I think as humans, it will regress us. The technology, because if you put technology in a person, you become the technology also. As a human flesh and blood person that does not have technology, that doesn't have access to that, we'll end up regressing. We'll end up being pushed out if we don't have the money.
Right.
So I know we probably
So
ran
you
long
just
with this.
basically said the synopsis of Altered Carbon.
It's true.
What's altered carbon? Did we talk about that already?
No, don't even talk about it. Look it up, Altered Carbon. But it's true because that's what Elon Musk is working on. Well, no, sorry, I don't want to say that. But, they've been working on things. I mean, you've seen limbs and things that they can move.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can get a bionic arm that looks like your arm, would you buy it if you can afford it?
I would.
If you got a bad leg, you trying to play basketball, you trying to do this, you would buy it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want, instead of doing plastic surgery, you can be 20 years old at your utmost beauty, and they just slow down your aging.
I'm okay with that.
And that makes me think of my one dream. So
yeah, and people would do that. And that is technology. The technology that they want to implant into people is no different from the technology and the algorithms that they use to manipulate people's brains.
What dream are you talking about? You already talked about it?
Wow. Okay.
Sorry. I wanted her to get that in because I know you're about to wrap.
The one that I said was similar to Altered Carbon, where people who didn't age explain it all again.
No, you don't.
No. Yeah, because we had a dream episode before.
Yeah.
But this has run a long time. We'll go ahead and wrap this up because I've been talking, and this is a never-ending conversation because there are many sides of this coin. It's not a two-headed coin. You can flip it over, it could be a head, flip it over, be a tail, flip it over, be a 10-headed coin. I mean, whatever. I mean, it's just a lot out there because you feel one way about it. Chantel feels one way about it, and I feel a certain way about social media.
Go ahead, Raven.
I see the good in social media for the human connection because, I mean, you are talking online, but at the same time, some of these friendships online become in-person friendships, and that'll last for a long time.
It's true.
I see the good of social media, but I also see the bad. Like you said, there's as many sides to this one coin, so I don't try to focus on the bad part. Of course, I am very aware of it. It's in the back of my head. But, that's why if I use it intentionally, or at least I try to.
I wouldn't be able to talk to our aunts or our uncles if it wasn't for social media.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Family members.
Yeah. We talked about that earlier on the last episode about that.
Yeah.
So the takeaway from this is there's no clear-cut answer what we can do about social media addiction. This was our viewpoint of how we feel or how I feel about social media.
It's an extension of me, is my takeaway.
So any other thoughts before we wrap it?
What's your thought, daughter?
No. Mm-mm.
Like, share, subscribe.
Right, exactly.
That's it.
Let social media be like your art. Don't let it be you.
Thank you.
That's a good
well
one.
Said.
I like that.
Well said. So we'll finish off with that. Thank you guys for listening. If you're still listening to it, if you do have any questions about it, if you want to add to the conversation, just like we say at the beginning of all episodes, you can email it to jwcarterfilmworks@gmail.com. Join the Facebook group Mysteries and Beliefs Podcast with John Carter. Hit me up on Instagram. And if you want to be on the show at any capacity, hit me up. Until next time, guys.
Bye.
Peace.